February 12, 2026, London. At precisely 11:05 a.m., Greenwich Mean Time, St. James's Palace issued an immediate security alert confirming that Princess Anne, as royal custodian of integrity, has formally ordered Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, to return to the United Kingdom within 7 days to face a Crown-convened disciplinary hearing. This unprecedented summons was authorized under Section 4 of the Sovereign Safeguard Protocol, a rarely invoked constitutional clause last used during the 1972 Margaret Townsend crisis. According to palace documentation leaked to the Times, the order cites grave breaches of royal security, unauthorized data extraction, and potential violations of the Official Secrets Act pertaining to Commonwealth intelligence briefings. The document, stamped with the royal cipher and countersigned by the Lord Chamberlain, states, "Failure to comply will result in automatic forfeiture of all remaining diplomatic protections, travel privileges, and consular assistance currently extended under the Windsor Accord of 2020. The hearing, scheduled for February 19, 2026, in the Crimson Drawing Room at Windsor Castle, will be presided over by Princess Anne, Prince William, and a panel of 3 senior Privy Councillors. Its agenda, outlined in a 12-page dossier labeled Operation Pegasus, Institutional Integrity Review, centers on 3 explosive findings recently forwarded to the palace by the UK's National Crime Agency. First, the alleged cloning and transfer of encrypted royal scheduling data from Kensington Palace servers to a private digital vault in Santa Barbara, California, between August and December 2025. Second, the unauthorized use of a backdoor access code, originally granted to Harry for veterans' charity work, to extract classified correspondence between the Royal Archives and the Commonwealth Office regarding the 2026 King's New Year Honours list. Third, and most damning, financial records showing that a shell company registered in the British Virgin Islands under the name Sussex Legacy Holdings received a wire transfer of £2.7 million from a Dubai-based media syndicate on January 15, 2026, just 3 days after that same syndicate obtained exclusive royal insider rights to a documentary series titled The Crown's Shadow. "This is not a request, it is a constitutional imperative," a palace spokesperson read from the official communiqué. "The Duke of Sussex is hereby summoned to answer, under oath and before the Crown's appointed tribunal, for actions that threaten not only the dignity of the monarchy but the security of the realm." The statement concluded with a chilling addendum. Should he refuse, the Crown will have no choice but to proceed in absentia, and all findings will be entered into the public record without redaction. Sources close to the royal household confirm that the decision to issue the summons followed a marathon emergency session of the Privy Council's Security Subcommittee, which convened at 3 a.m. on February 11th after GCHQ analysts flagged anomalous data traffic between a royal IP address and an offshore server linked to Meghan Markle's newly formed wellness brand, Archewell Digital. According to a confidential memo obtained by the BBC's royal correspondent, the traffic included real-time location metadata of senior royal family members, draft itineraries for the 2027 Commonwealth Tour, and scanned pages from Queen Elizabeth II's private journals. Documents believed to have been digitized without authorization during Harry's last visit to Frogmore Cottage in September 2025. Princess Anne, acting in her capacity as chair of the Royal Institutional Standards Committee, delivered a televised address from St. James's Palace just 30 minutes after the summons was issued. Standing before a portrait of Queen Victoria, her expression was granite. "Let me be unequivocal," she began, her voice steady and cold. "The Crown is not a data mine. It is not a branding opportunity. It is a 1,000-year-old institution built on duty, discretion, and sacred trust. What we have uncovered is not mere carelessness. It is a systematic, calculated extraction of sovereign intelligence for potential commercial or geopolitical leverage. That ends now." She paused, allowing the weight of her words to settle. Harry has 7 days to return, to face the questions, to answer for the breaches, and to decide whether he still considers himself bound by the oath he swore to this family and this nation. Prince William, appearing later that afternoon at a previously scheduled engagement at the Royal Academy of Engineering, was approached by reporters as he departed. He stopped, turned, and delivered a statement so brief it became instant headline fodder. "My brother knows what is required of him," he said, his eyes unwavering. "The path back, if there is one, begins with accountability, not publicity." He then entered his vehicle without another word, leaving a stunned press pool scrambling to broadcast the clip. But what happened next stunned even the most seasoned royal observers. At 4:17 p.m., Greenwich Mean Time, the Royal Communications Office released a second, even more devastating document. a forensic audit report compiled by the Metropolitan Police's Special Financial Crimes Directorate, titled The California Compromise, A Fiscal Timeline. The 28-page report detailed a pattern of deliberate and coordinated financial obfuscation spanning from 2020 to early 2026. Among its findings, the routing of over $6.2 million in charitable donations from the Archewell Foundation through a series of newly created LLCs in Delaware and Nevada, entities that listed Meghan's former business manager, Andrew Meyer, as sole signatory. The funds, earmarked for women's empowerment and mental health initiatives, were allegedly used as collateral for high-interest personal loans taken out by Meyer to finance luxury real estate acquisitions in Montecito and Aspen. The report also included bank records, showing 3 transfers totaling $1.4 million from one of these LLCs to a Beverly Hills law firm retained by Meghan in November 2025, the same firm that filed a trademark application for Royal Sussex Media just 2 weeks later. This isn't philanthropy, it's a shell game, a senior palace aide told ITV News on condition of anonymity. And the most heartbreaking part? The people who lose are the vulnerable communities those donations were supposed to help. The Crown cannot and will not be associated with that kind of ethical catastrophe. Then came the most explosive revelation of all. At 7:45 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, the Daily Mail published what it described as a leaked voicemail recording of Meghan Markle from January 2026. In the 42-second audio clip, a voice unmistakably similar to Meghan's is heard speaking to an unidentified associate. Just get the files cleaned and mirrored to the Zurich server. Harry doesn't need to know the details. He's sentimental about the past. I'm building the future, and the future is data. The call, according to the Mail's source, was intercepted by a private cybersecurity firm hired by the royal household to monitor potential breaches after the FBI's Montecito raid in late 2025. Buckingham Palace has not authenticated the recording, but a spokesperson confirmed that the matter is now part of the ongoing disciplinary review. The gravity wasn't just legal, it was existential. For the first time, a direct voice-recorded link had been made between Meghan and the alleged data extraction scheme. This isn't betrayal, a high-ranking royal aide whispered to a Reuters correspondent. It's a cathedral built on stolen keys. As the institutional storm raged, the emotional core of the crisis began to crystallize. The children, Archie, now 7, and Lilibet, 5, were reported to be enrolled in a private online schooling program based in California, cut off from their British cousins and the royal traditions that had defined their father's childhood. Sources close to Kensington Palace revealed that Princess Catherine had privately reached out to Harry via a secure, encrypted channel in late January, urging him to consider the emotional security of the children amid the escalating legal warfare. According to insiders, Harry did not respond. Instead, Meghan's legal team sent a formal cease and desist letter to Catherine's office, demanding she refrain from any further unsolicited communication regarding the Sussex children. The contrast could not have been more stark. On February 13th, Catherine was photographed taking Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis to a low-key community theater production in Windsor. The children laughed, held hands, and waved to well-wishers, a portrait of normalcy and warmth. That same day, the only public update on Archie and Lilibet came via a heavily filtered Instagram post from a fan account showing blurred images of 2 children playing in a distant backyard, captioned, "Living their best, private life." The post was later linked to a PR firm contracted by Archewell. "They are not proxies in a parental rivalry," Catherine reportedly told a close friend, according to a source quoted in The Telegraph. "They are children, and they deserve peace, not a digital footprint mined for content before they can even read." Diana's legacy hung heavy in the air. Royal biographers noted that the last time a senior royal was summoned to a formal disciplinary hearing was in 1993, when Prince Charles was called before a palace panel to discuss the leaked Camillagate tapes. Diana, at the time, had pleaded for privacy and family reconciliation. Now, her 2 sons stood on opposite sides of a chasm that seemed to deepen by the hour. By February 14th, the consequences began to stack with mechanical precision. The UK Intellectual Property Office, acting on a request from the Crown Estate, issued a provisional suspension of all trademarks containing the words Sussex, Archewell, or Montecito in connection with royal imagery. Netflix, which had been in early talks for a documentary series about Harry's post-royal journey, formally paused all negotiations, citing unforeseen contractual complexities. In Los Angeles, the boutique wellness brands that had once clamored for Meghan's endorsement quietly removed her name from their websites. A former Archewell staffer, speaking anonymously to Page 6, summed it up. The doors are closing. The calls aren't being returned. It's over. Public opinion solidified like cement. A snap poll conducted by YouGov on February 13th found that 82% of Britons supported Princess Anne's summons, with 76% believing Harry should lose his remaining titles if he refused to attend. More tellingly, 88% agreed with the statement, the monarchy must protect itself from internal exploitation, even if it means fracturing the family. On the morning of February 15th, King Charles, who had remained conspicuously silent, signed Royal Order D-229, a one-page decree authorizing the temporary suspension of Harry's diplomatic passport and all associated consular protections, effective February 20th if he remained outside the UK. The order was delivered to the Home Office and the British Embassy in Washington, D.C., simultaneously. There would be no special treatment, no royal plane sent to collect him, just a commercial flight, a hearing, and a verdict. Princess Anne and Prince William stood side by side that evening in the White Drawing Room at St. James's Palace, facing a single camera for a pre-recorded address to be broadcast the following day. Anne spoke first, her voice a low, steady drumbeat of authority. "We have drawn a line," she said. "Not in anger, but in solemn duty. The crown does not belong to us. We are its temporary guardians, and guardians do not look away when the walls are being dismantled from within." William followed, his gaze direct and unwavering. "I loved my brother. I love him still. But love is not a permission slip to violate sacred trusts. He has 7 days to choose, the family or the facade." As the broadcast ended, the screen faded to black. In studios from London to Los Angeles, producers scrambled to dissect every word. Pundits debated whether Harry would board the plane. Legal analysts parsed the official Secrets Act. And across the world, millions waited. For a response, a defiance, a surrender. But in the quiet corridors of Windsor Castle, a different truth was settling. This was no longer about a rift, or a rivalry, or a runaway prince. It was about something far older and far more resilient, an institution's immune system kicking in. The crown had been wounded from within before, by abdications, by divorces, by scandals that splashed across front pages for decades. And each time, it had adapted, hardened, survived. The age of ambiguity was over. The era of behind-the-scenes brokering and diplomatic silence had collapsed under the weight of encrypted servers, leaked voicemails, and forensic audits. What remained was a simple, stark choice, one that Harry, and Harry alone, would have to make. As midnight approached on February 12, 2026, the gates of the House of Windsor stood open, but not for long. The summons was issued. The evidence was laid bare. The world was watching. And somewhere over the Atlantic, a plane might, or might not, be turning eastward, carrying a prince back to a home that no longer knew what to call him.